31 years, the National Hispanic Media Coalition has fought for a more fair and inclusive media industry for Latinos. It has worked to diversify the media workforce and has protected affordable access and open communications for all people of color. The coalition's newest campaign has been to stop the spread of hate speech and violence stemming from the campaign and presidency of Donald Trump.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists.
Somebody's doing the raping, Don. I mean,
we have some bad hombres here, and we're going to get them out.
It is called the Coalition Against Hate, a national group of 56 interfaith civil rights, LGBT, and nonprofit groups who have organized to protect the safety of all Americans. It has recently called on President Trump to eject all known extremists from entering his inner circle. The coalition's goal? To prevent hate and bias from becoming the new normal.
We have no choice but to go out after the hate purveyors, to expose them for what they are.
And when people come in, they have to come in.
So you're going to split up families?
Chuck,
You're going to deport children?
Chuck, no, we're going to keep the families together. We have to keep the families together.
But you're going to keep them
they have to
together
go.
out?
But they have to go.
What if they have no place to go?
We will work with them. They have to go. Chuck, we either have a country or we don't have a country.
I remember when I was a kid, up and down the state of California, there were signs that said no dogs or Mexicans allowed. We've returned to those times.
U.S. immigration officials are reportedly stepping up efforts to round up people who are in the country illegally. In a series of raids this week, authorities arrested dozens and dozens of undocumented immigrants. The government says it's simply enforcing the law and that the raids target those with known criminal records. But some advocacy groups say some people without criminal records have been included.
We're getting gang members out, we're getting drug lords out, we're getting really bad dudes out of this country. It's a military operation.
It is not just against Mexicans, it is about every vulnerable community of color and not of color in this country.
God bless Donald Trump. Fuck Islam. And you and that thing, you can go back to fucking Saudi Arabia.
Protesters flooded downtown Seattle and Los Angeles International Airport overnight. Now, that followed protests in several other major airports in the country. The president has ordered all travelers from Iran, Iraq, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, and Yemen to be denied entry to the United States for the next 90 days.
No man, no wall, no man, no wall, no justice, no peace, no justice, no peace.
Without hesitation, the Coalition Against Hate blasted President Trump's travel ban as unconstitutional. One member of the coalition, the Council of American Islamic Relations, filed a federal lawsuit challenging Trump's executive order.
Let me be clear. This is not a Muslim ban, simply. It is a Muslim exclusion order.
Statue of Liberty is now crying because Trump is going against everything that this country stands for. Send me your masses, the statue says. And he is cutting all of that off, supposedly because of all these terrible terrors coming into the nation. There's no proof of that.
Let's begin with the president starting to make good on a major campaign promise. He just signed executive action that will fund a wall along that U.S.-Mexico border.
Where is Mexico going to get the money to pay for it? And why should Mexico pay for it when they're not building the wall?
We'll build the wall, yes.
We will build a wall.
You cannot build a 1,900-mile wall. You cannot deny citizenship to children in this country. And with those ideas, I'm a reporter and don't touch me, sir. Don't touch me, sir. You cannot touch me. I have the right to ask a question.
He's a demagogue. He has fanned the fires of fear so that, in fact, he gets what he wants.
We stand with the people of Orlando who have endured a terrible attack on their city. This was an act of terror and an act of hate.
The Coalition Against Hate argues that extreme political rhetoric seizes on people's fears and anxieties, and therefore plays a role in fueling hate crimes. According to a study by Cal State University San Bernardino's Center for the Study of Hate, in the months leading up to the presidential election last year, hate crimes against Muslim Americans increased 78% in 2015, a level unsurpassed since 9/11. Hate crimes against Latinos have also spiked, but many times go unreported due to the fear of deportation. In the month following the election, the Southern Poverty Law Center's Hate Watch tracked more than 1,000 hate crimes across the U.S., most of them against immigrants.
Hate speech is passed from the parents to the children to their peers, and then it becomes hate crimes, and that is horrible.
Meanwhile, hate speech is proliferating on the internet. A study by George Washington University's Program on Extremists last year found that Twitter followers of American white nationalists and neo-Nazis have surged more than 600% since 2012, and their sites have gone largely unchecked. The report also found that white nationalist users reference Donald Trump more than almost any other topic on Twitter.
Well, he has emboldened all of those people that are his supporters who believe that Mexicans shouldn't be in this country, that Muslims should not be allowed to come in. You know what they are? They're racist.
Hail Trump! Hail our people! Hail victory!
It is a terrible place that we are in terms of our history in this country. Democracy has broken down.
The Coalition Against Hate believes one way to break hate is through media. It's working with media outlets to expose and challenge the growing climate of bigotry and demanding the media abandon its own hate speech and negative rhetoric as a profit model and bring back civil discourse to the public arena.
Trump is at war with the media.
They are among the most dishonest human beings on earth. The news is fake because so much of the news is fake.
We're not going to have an independent media if the media doesn't defend themselves, doesn't stand up with the rest of us and say, no, this is the truth here. Not what he says is the truth, what everything points to be the truth, where we are right now as Americans.
Many more battles remain for the National Hispanic Media Coalition. One of them, diversifying the writers' rooms in primetime network television. Recent data shows Latinos make up only 2.8% of writers staffed on TV shows, despite making up 18% of the U.S. population. So, the coalition created its own TV writing program, now in its 14th year.
They are the ones that tell our stories. They are the ones that put the words out there that project us for who we really are rather than what somebody supposes that we are. And so unless that territory is covered, we're still not going to be perceived in a positive light.
35% of our writers have been staffed or have gone on to work on a show since completing the program. Just this past year, we have 25 to 30 writers that were staffed on shows. They're starting to move up the ranks and they're becoming story editors, they're becoming producers, showrunners.
I got into the program, wrote 2 scripts. The very next year I got into the Disney writing program, was immediately put on a show, immediately got a pilot, and then got another pilot, which then led to Elena of Avalor. Absolutely opened doors for me. In fact, I've hired 3 National Hispanic Media Coalition writers on Elena of Avalor because I knew them in the program. I wanted various sensibilities. So we had Afro-Latina, we had Puerto Rican. When you have shows that have different points of view and they're told through writers who are diverse, that's the best storytelling.
And to help take writers to the next level, the coalition created the Graduate Writers Program last year to further hone the skills of their promising alumni. Because it's important to highlight the talents of Latino writers as well as Latino actors, the coalition, along with the Los Angeles Theater Center and its artistic director, Jose Luis Valenzuela, continues to hold the Latino Scene Showcase, now in its 5th year. Writers write and actors perform their work, all for TV network executives, agents, and casting directors in hopes of finding work and a voice in front and behind the cameras.
We cannot continue to see shows mostly cast with Anglo actors. I mean, if you look at the city, you take a walk in the city, you see the multitude of color, and that's what I think the reason why we have to have this diversity showcase. We're not on the peripheral. We are in the fabric of this society. You know, the powers that be need to sit back and really take a look at that and see if that representation is really truly being carried out.
Last year, the coalition celebrated a victory, expanding the low-cost telephone service, Lifeline, to include internet for the nation's poorest people. But recently, the new FCC chairman appointed by Trump ordered a rollback of some Lifeline reforms. The most disadvantaged are half of all Latino households who remain offline. Another one of the coalition's victories is also being threatened: net neutrality, designed to ensure equal access to content on the internet. In this new era, under this new administration, the National Hispanic Media Coalition's fight for equality and inclusion will not cease, as the will of the millions of women and men worldwide who have marched and will march in solidarity and in opposition to Trump's ideals he has come to embody. The coalition remains optimistic that America can one day be a place of inclusion and equality if people continue to rise up and unite to defend the freedoms enshrined in our Constitution.
When there is opposition, confusion, when there are times like what we have right now, there's also opportunity. We have a great interest in the progress of this nation, in the future of this nation. This is ours too.